Good afternoon, everyone. We're glad to welcome you to our SAP Tech Talks webinar. A few words regarding the event organization. The webinar will be recorded and then posted on our YouTube channel. You may ask all your questions in the Q&A field. Our today's speaker is Natallia Shtura, and the topic of her webinar is Smart Start with SAP Build Process Automation. Natalia, the floor is yours.
Hello, colleagues. Thank you, Anna. Happy to be here. Happy to see colleagues and share my experience with you. Okay, and do you see my screen? Yes. Okay. My name is Natallia Shtura, and I'm software engineer at EPAM Systems. My main focus is BTP development, and I took part in 3 BTP projects, and I would like to share my experience with you. I actively work with SAP Build Process Automation, and I won't be shy. Our EPAM team won the SAP Build Hackathon. Today, I don't want to show you how to build or create a simple process or automation, because you can create a simple prototype following SAP tutorials, just step by step pass in there. Of course, within 2 hours, I think. Today, I want to show you how to work with your deployed project, how to work with it smartly, where you can find actual information to work with it efficiently. Because there are no tutorials which can describe or guide you what you can do with your deployed projects and which capabilities are available for you. And let's take a look at our contents. Yeah. Firstly, I will show you how SAP Build Process Automation looks like, and I will show you my project, which we will use during this demo. Then we will deep dive into SAP Business Accelerator Hub and how this resource can be useful for you. Also, I want to show you my Postman configurations, which saves me time every day. And at the end, I will share with you resources with the most useful and up-to-date information to study, to check some information, or to find something interesting for you. Let's start. SAP Build Process Automation combines workflow management, RPA functionality, decision management, process visibility into one intuitive low-code experience. Lobby provides possibility to work with your projects, including creation, renaming, operation deletion, possibility to release and publish your projects. This is your first entry when you open this application, this service. Then, a Store tab is very useful section for mastering SAP BPA, Business Process Automation. This is a short name. It contains hundreds of ready templates, libraries, components, automations, and so on. For example, if you plan to work with Excel inside your project, you need to plug corresponding library to the project, and after it, functionality for Excel processing will become available. Or you can upload a training project from the store and review artifacts provided by SAP trainers. This is the main place where you can find great information for you. Then, Monitor. Monitor provides functionality for monitoring processes, workflow, automations, process visibility. This is the point where you can find all monitors and check your processes. What is their status? Then, Settings. There you can register and manage agents for automation, monitor their status, add destinations. You can create API keys. This is more admin-specific tab, I guess. And that's it. We reviewed all SAP Build Process Automation and which functionality are available. Then let's take a look to two main parts of the SPA, RPA and workflow management. RPA can automate repetitive tasks And on the left side, you can see the example of automation to create a purchase order in S/4HANA. And this automation you can create and then use in your processes, or you can invoke this automation independently via API. In workflow management, you can easily create approval process, add decisions. This is the analog of business rules. Add automations for email notification. You can also create process visibility reports based on this process. And I guess SAP each quarter provides a new functionality and always update existing functionality for creating these processes. And now I would like to start recording. This is my application, my business process automation. Here I can open my projects. On the first tab artifacts, you can find all artifacts which are available for you, which are added to your project or project which shared with you with your colleagues. Let's open project. Looks like you can drag and drop a new functionality, new approvals, forms. Now you can see the UI for my inbox notification. This is the standard UI, and you can always map data from context to this UI or to this notification. Here we can see automation, and email notification also is available. And you can see that you can create a payload for email and map some data from context. Yeah, that's it. Also, if you start your project via API trigger, you can find these triggers in your deployed project. And here you can find the URL to start your project. And also you can copy and get the data which payload is required to start this process. In this space, you can deploy or undeploy your projects. You can release these projects. And also it's very useful thing is you can review previous versions. For workflow management, it was not available for us. Now you can just open the previous version and check what you've done before. Okay, we have deployed projects. And now we may have questions. How to trigger process? Which capabilities are available? How to build a correct API call? And how to test processes? And here I would like to pay your attention to the SAP API Accelerator Hub. This resource provides lots of materials for SAP products. But today I want to make an overview of API package for SAP Build Process Automation. There are 6 packages inside this space. And this is packages for automations, for API for automations, for decisions, for business rules, for visibility reports, and for workflow. Let's open workflow package. This package contains APIs for workflow management. And on the first tab, you can find configuration details. And sometimes you can have doubts regarding the correct URL to invoke your APIs for your workflow service. And here is the best place to check your doubts and to find or to copy this URL and to start work with APIs. Let's switch to API reference tab to check which API groups are available. Here you can see the list of groups and find all available APIs. This is the right part. For workflow instance, for user task instance, this is for user notification. And To start workflow, we need to choose workflow instance group and get a proper API for workflow instances because we want to create a new instance. I would like to emphasize that here you can find very useful information and description on how to build API call, payload structure, rule permissions. For instance, this API can be triggered by user which has assigned process automation participant rule collection. This rule collection is usually given to end users. For some APIs, those APIs can be triggered only by admin users with corresponding role collection. For instance, we have API which can delete all workflow instances. This API can be triggered only by user which has admin rule collection. Yeah. Also, here you can find and you can see this black rectangle. Here you can get the default payload to start your API. Sometimes this default is optional, sometimes it's required. And colleagues, just please to read this couple of sentences under the short description under post and workflow instance part, because sometimes it's very useful information which describe you how you can use this API and what is forbidden. And on this page, in the right upper corner, SAP provides the try out button to test APIs. But this is a browser version, and unfortunately, you can meet some problems like session disconnection or etc. I propose you to use Postman and add this application to your daily routine. Many of you probably already know Postman, but I would like to introduce my configurations. Maybe you will find interesting features, or if you haven't started working with it yet, then I recommend it, taking a closer look at it. For instance, if your workflow API will be triggered from custom application, which is not ready to be used, you can use Postman and test and simulate all API calls via this application. On this screen, you can see my Postman configuration. I use it, I guess, every day. And let's overview the main features which I use. Environment. This is my favorite part. For each sub-account service instance, I create a new environment where I provide credentials to access this service. You can easily switch between environments, which gives you possibility to test quickly on dev or QA. For instance, I have access to SAP Build Process Automation on development environment and on QA. And I have the same API, but with different client credentials, with different authorization. For this, I use environment. I create variables where I provide keys, credentials to get authorization, to get authorization token. And what I need, only switch between environment, get a new token, and start a new API. It spent, I guess, 5 seconds maximum. I will show you how I set up my environment later. Then, very extensive review of response Postman provides. You can find body, you can check header, you can save your response. Sometimes it's very useful for export, for instance, workflow. Payload. Very simple to create and change API body. Postman will validate spelling. Beautifier is also available. Very user-friendly design. And the interesting part, it's very easy to collect an API call using URL variable. This is the orange part. And then what I need to do is to add the path for the required API. This white tail on the screen. I will show you on the recording again this procedure, but I use orange part always, and what I just need to change white tail, which you see on the screen, and I can easily create a new API and get a new token for this API. Yeah. On this screen, you can see my environment. I use 4 variables: workflow REST API to access APIs, and 3 variables to get authorization. This is client ID, client secret, and URL to your sub account. I create a new environment for each service instance for different sub accounts, for instance, but I use the same name of variables. I fill in this data and save. This data for, client ID, client secret, URL, you can get uh, on, you can find on sub account. For each service instance, you can generate new service key or you can get the existing one and just copy and paste this data to your Postman. And for authorization, in Postman, we can use authorization tab and authorization and choose authorization type, which is required for our APIs. For us today, this is the OAuth 2.0. And we need to configure parameters with environment variables. And I just copy and paste the name of variables to client ID, client secret, and access token URL. And I use it like a links, like a refer. Of course, I can fill in directly from sub account this data, just a string, but without these variables, I will not be able to switch between environments because I save it in environments and I always very fast switch, and only once I need to open a sub account and get data like client ID and client secret. And of course, don't forget to add OAuth token to the URL to get your token. You need to fill in these lines only once, and then you can duplicate tabs, and this authorization will be, these fields will be filled for your future APIs. We fill in these variables, we get token, and we're ready to start. And yes, let's create an API call in Postman. Yeah. Okay, great. You can see the empty Postman now, and let's review which steps I do when I need to create a new API. I go to SAP Business Accelerator Hub, choose the API, check the required payload, and starting in Postman, create a new API call. For this, I always can open my environment and copy and paste the variable name, but Postman helps with it and he provides the helping, these green lines. Okay, I have the initial URL, then I need and I can check the URL, the full URL to our workflow service API calls. Yeah, and now I know which API I need to use. V1 workflow instances. This API can retrieve all instances or start a new instance depending on the method which you use in this API. For my process, I have specified fields for my API, and I can copy this API, this payload on the SAP Build Process Automation. Yeah, here we are. You can fill in data. Uh, you can save this API, and sometimes maybe you need to change some initial um, input parameters. Yeah, and very easily, I like this to change here data. We choose the method post and the authorization. Yeah. Here we will specify the access token URL, and also we will specify client ID, client secret, and where we will get these parameters, I mean from Postman environment variables. Client ID. Yeah, again, I duplicate when I will create this API for the new API, for the different API, I can just duplicate this step and all these parameters will be saved and will be on place. Yeah, we're ready. We have filled in data, get new access and token. Here you can see that you have authorized token for your process, and we can send our API and start our process. In the Postman, you can see the successful status, and we're ready to check in workflow monitor our new process. Here we are. New process was created from Postman, and you can start so much process how much you need for you, and you can use these configurations for various of API calls. It's not only for start process. Okay, let's move to the next slide. I prepared for you some tricks with user credentials which I use. If you have a test users on development or QA sub-account, you can check API behavior under these users. For this, you need to switch grant type to password credentials, provide password credentials of test user or your credentials, and get a new token. Then your API call will simulate test user credentials. Sometimes it's very useful. And let's check how it looks like. It has the same API. Only one thing I want to change. This is the authorization grant type. By default, this is client credentials. If we switch to password credentials, we need to specify username and password credentials for the sub account to the to access sub account. And I need to get a new token. Yeah, here, get a new token. Yes, this is successful. Great. The same payload, and we're ready to send API under my credentials. And let's check the result in monitor and what is the difference. Yeah, here we are. Here is my credentials, and sometimes some APIs have authorization permissions, and some users can see an extended list of sensitive information, for instance. Some users can see only general information. And for this, you can use this feature for different APIs, for CAP services, for workflow instances, of course, for any API. It's not only for workflow. And time to summarize. We can create various processes or automations in the SAP Build Process Automation. We can check wide list of API calls and use these API calls in Postman to test your product independently. And you can very fast start your API and check and monitor the results without any dependence on the development your application. Yeah. Today I've shown you a simple example how to work with SAP Build Process Automation and API. But you can always extend your projects. Just try to use these tools together because it can save you much time. I spent a couple of months to connect all these things together. I mean, SAP Build Process Automation, SAP Business Accelerator Hub, and the Postman. Yeah, specific feature of modern SAP cloud products is necessity to study a lot and all time. And at the very beginning, it may seem difficult and time consuming. But I want to share with you some unique resources where you can find useful information to master SAP products quickly and have up to date information. The first one is SAP Learning. This resource provides a long journey with business comments and product descriptions. It's more theoretical resource from my point of view, but they provide the exercises or the resources where you can check your knowledge with quizzes. And sometimes SAP can propose you to pass certification after passing some of these courses. The second one is SAP tutorials. This is my favorite one. Here you can find learning materials and step-by-step tutorials with detailed descriptions and screenshots. For instance, if you want to add SAP Build Process Automation to your sub account, you will find all details here. How you need to create the trial account, how to start booster, or etc. Or if you want to start your automation and you need to set up agent for your PK, you can find all details here where you can download this automation and which configurations you need to do. And the last one, I review SAP blogs. I participate in partner calls from time to time. Also, our REPAM team participate SAP hackathons just to be acknowledged about the news, about the new functionality. Also, you can find information about upcoming releases and product roadmaps inside Discovery Center. And of course, you can follow some headliners of SAP Build or any products, SAP products in LinkedIn, because sometimes the latest news we can find here. And colleagues, I would like to finish my presentation, and I would like to say you work smart, not hard, and study very efficiently with my courses. And I hope you found some new features for you, or you can just start your journey if you participated this course. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, please ask. I would like to answer. Yeah.
Thank you, Natalia. It was really interesting. And actually, we have several questions in the Q&A section. The first question is, could you share a practical example or use case when optimizing Postman configurations made a substantial difference in the overall workflow of a project utilizing SAP Build Process Automation?
Oh, let me check this. Could you please share with me again the link to the question, Anna?
Yeah, sure.
I would like to read it.
And the question is also available in the chat. You can see it.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. Let me check. I see here two parts. First part for me, this is the Postman configuration for project. If you will use SAP tryout button and the application which provides SAP. You always need to open browser, and it's sometimes difficult to find proper API because they provide the whole list of APIs, and you just need to find or your API because you have all. You can create your own collection, for instance, and use only APIs for you, or only is needed for you, or needed for you. Uh, and this is for me, this is a benefit of Postman. And for the second part of the question about overall workflow and project utilization, I think I can't answer you because Postman just provide possibility for developer just to work with it, just to use it for you, not for like this is always for project, but you can very fast switch, check, download payload. You can share with colleagues your collection, and they can use these APIs. Yes, it helps, and I recommend to use it for you. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you. So the next question, what is the difference between SAP Business Process Automation and SAP Workflow Management and SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation?
Mhm. Mhm. Now, SAP Workflow Management and SAP Robotic Process Automation combined inside one umbrella, inside SAP Build Process Automation. SAP Management, and I guess RPA also is deprecated, but the main functionality, the core functionality are available in SAP Build Process Automation. In workflow management, you can develop your workflow in SAP Business Application Studio. This is available also for SAP Build Process Automation. You can develop your advanced workflow in, like you develop for management, and deploy it to instance for process automation. And you will use the same APIs. I think APIs is a bit different. Some APIs are different, but the approach is the same. And for API robotic process automation, situation is the same. They provide the possibility to create a new automations, but inside SAP Build Process Automation, just to join these products and just to use it in one project. I showed you the example when from process in SAP Build Process Automation, I call automation, which created in one package for one project. Yeah, I think this is the answer.
Yes, thank you. So, while you are generating your new questions, we encourage you to join our community on other social platforms like Facebook, Telegram, LinkedIn, and of course, we're a community platform via the link in the chat. So, let's get down to some other questions. The next question is it possible to run multiple automations simultaneously by a single RPA agent?
I can answer you honestly because I didn't check it. I haven't checked it, sorry, but you it can depends on the automations which you created. Maybe inside your one automation you call some child automations, but I'm not sure about it, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. Is there a possibility to call APIs within the workflow? Are there any restrictions?
I'm not get the question. Yes, yeah, okay, I understand. Yes, of course, you can call API uh, workflow APIs inside your workflow instance. Yes, there are restrictions. but these restrictions you can find in the descriptions of API calls. But in some projects, I use workflow API inside one workflow. Sometimes I need to update some data, or I need to retrieve some attributes from a different workflow. And yes, it is possible. Via destination, you just need to create the general ordinary destination to workflow with client credentials, WAUS 2.0 authentication. You just need to provide client ID, client secret, save this destination, and call this destination from your actions, for instance, for SAP Build Process Automation, and or in SAP Business Application Studio via destination and service task. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. So I see that that's it with the questions for today. Thanks a lot for such an inspiring and valuable speech and informative answers. And as already mentioned, our today's webinar recording will be posted on our YouTube channel, and the links to the recording will be sent separately. Colleagues, thanks a lot for your participation and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Bye.